You're listening to Upcycling with Deb. This is a Little Debbie, a bite-sized version of the full podcast, Upcycling with Deb. I'm your host, Deb Colameta. I wrote a #1 best-selling book called Best Offer, Best Life, and it teaches you how to leverage online yard sales to get the wealth that you want in your life. I have a brand new downloadable. If you head to my website, thedebsite.com, you can grab that for free. My parents weren't really sure that they had anything to sell. They are trying to clear out their house in the future. They may try to downsize. So they took some of their daughter's golden advice here and they decided we're not going to wait till the last minute to try to clear out our stuff. We're going to do it a few years in advance. So they've been diligently trying to purge their home and donate things accordingly. As they were cleaning out the basement, they saw that they had a few items that maybe they could sell. One day, I was actually looking for a bike for my daughter, like a two-wheel bike, and I was on yard sale sites. And I saw that because there was a massive shortage, everybody during the pandemic had ran to buy a bicycle. They were price gouging at local bike shops, or they were unavailable at the big box stores. So I was just looking for a bicycle online for my daughter and realized that they were going immediately. So in this process of buying, I thought to myself, gee, do we have a bike that we can sell? And lo and behold, we did actually have an extra bike. And not only that, but when I told the story to my mom, she said, we have an extra bike that's just sitting there. It hasn't been used in probably 25 years. So we posted that and it sold immediately. Somebody was really happy to have it. It didn't go into a landfill, and bikes were impossible to find at that particular time during the pandemic. And the guy was thrilled because he could use it to get to work. And it was a really good bike. It looked good. It was in great condition. So think of how much space a bike can take up in your garage or in your basement area. So that was a win. And once they got bitten by the bug, they started a few other things. They wanted to upgrade their snowblower. So instead of just junking one snowblower in favor of another, it worked perfectly well, but my dad was ready to kind of upgrade and get something that was a little bit easier to manage. And somebody else was happy to take their cast off and paid a really good amount. But it was so difficult at that point in the winter to get snowblowers that somebody was really feeling lucky to have it. And my parents were thrilled that it wasn't taking up square footage in their garage. They had some chairs they were looking to get rid of. So we sold the chairs right away. Somebody picked them up and brought them to her lake house. So again, this goes back to the fact that if people are looking down their noses because they think that online yard sales are for poor people or people who don't have the cash to buy things new, I got to tell you, most of the things that I sell are to people who pull up to my house in a luxury car. Oftentimes, my furniture, they tell me it goes into a second home, a lake house, an ocean house. We sold those chairs for my parents, and the woman picked them up and she was standing in my driveway saying, I don't know if these will go in my beach house or my lake house. And I thought, oh, I should have tripled the price on her for saying that. So she was very wealthy and she had no problem using the online yard sales because she knew she was getting a really good value. And maybe that's how some people get rich, because they look for good value. We felt like we hit the jackpot because we started going through my parents' things and they were just kind of overlooking it. They really didn't think that anybody would want to buy these items, and they just automatically reverted to donating them and didn't realize that with just a few minutes of effort, they could actually make some cash. And generously, they gave the cash to my kids because I had done some of the legwork for selling it, because they don't have social media accounts. But it's all good because they loved being able to generate the money for it somehow. And, they had spent their hard-earned money on it in the first place. So why not make a little something off it? But you never know what you have to sell until you put those goggles on and start looking at your things and imagine price tags hanging off them. What can you sell that's in your house? Look around the room where you're sitting right now and see What are the items that you have that you could possibly sell? I'll bet you probably have at least one item in every room of your home that you could try to sell. And once you get started, you'll get hooked. Thanks for listening to this episode of Little Debbie, a bite-sized version of the podcast Upcycling with Deb. I'm your host, Deb Colameta. You can reach me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Deb Colameta. I hope you'll get your free downloadable guide on my website, thedebsite.com.